Hi, welcome to the Owatonna Today Show. Thank you so much for joining us. What makes us possible to be here is our supporters, those businesses that have stood up and said, you know, we like what you're doing and we want to be a part of it, so we'd like to thank them right now. We'd like to start off with our premier supporters. They include City of Owatonna, Express Employment Professionals, Owatonna Foundation, Owatonna Public Utilities, Safe and Drug-Free Coalition of Steele County, and United Way of Steele County. Also a thank you to our primary supporters, which are Amy Swain Hearing Centers and Little Theater of Owatonna. And then, of course, we could not do this without our interlude supporters. They are Abraham Consulting Technologies, Brenda Bednar Mortgage, Glenn Meager and Tim Thomas of the Brick Meager Funeral Home and Menford Funeral Home, Carlson Branstad and Company CPAs, ERA Gillespie Real Estate, Fairview Animal Medical Center, Horizon Eye Care Professionals, Clancher & Son Landscaping and Concrete, Napa Auto Service, Owatonna Business Incubator, Profinium Financial, R&K Electric, Snap Fitness, Steele County Historical Society, Steele County Transitional Housing, Third Hand Incorporated Video Productions, and TPS Insurance. Thank you to those companies, and we'd love for you to thank them as well by going in and saying, hey, we saw you on the Owatonna Today Show. And if you are a business or an organization that would like to be a part of us, we'd love to have you along for this ride. All you have to do is call Leanne Alt at 390-5751 and let us know that you'd like to be a part of this. Stay with us today. We're going to be talking to the Plant Ladies, as well as a new name for the Steele County Area Transit. Stay with us.
I'm Dan Branstad of Carlson Branstad and Company, Certified Public Accountants. We support the Owatonna Today Show.
Owatonna Public Utilities, real people, real reliable, real progress. Making life a little easier day after day, taking pride in our community, listening to what you say, a voice you can talk to. We're growing with you in mind in everything we do. Owatonna Public Utilities.
Greetings, I'm Laura Ressler, Director of the Steele County Historical Society, and I welcome you to our History Center. We invite you to join in all our activities events where we honor the past and look towards the future.
And we are back with the I was going to say Steele County Historical Society. We were just watching that. We're not that. No, we're the Owatonna Today Show. And I have with us the Plant Ladies. I have with me Lorrie, Rugg, and Verna Thiede. Hello, ladies.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to see you in a warm environment. Mm-hmm. We've actually had a chance to chat a couple of times outside when it wasn't too bad, but today would have been horrific.
Yeah, a little chilly.
I'm really glad. But, you know, the nice thing is that even though you're inside, and you can still have the outside of your house look nice.
That's
and so
right.
We're going to talk today something about what you call porch pots?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Tree topper pots, porch pots. These are something that you can do in the fall and leave out inside your home all winter long because they do last. Okay. I did mine actually as soon as I cleared out my annual things that were frozen and brown and ugly. Mm-hmm. I did my porch pots in October already. Okay. Just because usually I'm outside chiseling or hauling my pots in to unthaw them to do them. And I thought, I'm going to get a jump on it this year. And I did. So that's awesome. But there's still time to do these. You just have to make sure that your pots are unthawed, like I said. Okay. And I use a lot of times my pots outside that I have my annual things in. So I leave the soil in, I just clear out the vegetation, you know, kind of chop it up if the roots are really root bound in there so you can still push things right into it. So all you basically need is a pot, some soil, and some goodies to go, and your creativity can do whatever. So one of the important things is the pots. Okay. This pot that I have here today, it's a plastic pot. Okay. And you want to do them in plastic pots because you don't want them to freeze and thaw, because if you use a nice expensive ceramic pot, put dirt in it, put your tree toppers in, and you want to water them in, it could freeze and crack and break your pot over the winter time. So even if you want to have that outside for show, put your tree toppers in a plastic pot and drop it down inside so that you don't crack that expensive pot that you have.
Because what you were saying is that we'll talk about some of the things we use. Most of the things that you do have in your toppers are already dried. Yep. But you do still have some living greenery, which it smells so lovely in here today because of that. And so when you talked about, because I am, you know, not a plant lady, so I'm going to make it kind of explain a little bit. You talked about watering it down. So let's talk about that. Actually, why don't you, Verna, tell us a little bit about that. So you put your soil in, and as you start using your greenery, you water it. What does that mean?
In order to keep all your greens and whatever else you're putting in your pot in place, plus the fact that if you're using living greens to start with, they actually will take up some moisture and they do last longer that way.
So the needles won't fall as much.
Right. Exactly.
And so what do? You put the soil in.
The soil goes in, and then you just start with your toppers. As you can see, the one that I have on the floor, that was outside this morning, and it's frozen rock hard. I mean, it's really heavy, but that's what you want it to do when you're going into winter. So you have spruce toppers like this, and there's numbers of sizes of them that you can get.
Where do you normally get something like this?
Garden Center, we have them at Cedar Floral. You know, you can buy bundles at Lowe's. You can buy them just about anywhere.
So
but these are alive. This is fresh.
Okay.
And so we keep them in water in the store. You do want to make fresh cuts on them. And this is kind of large for this pot, but I thought this would show really well. You just, trim off some of the branches all the way down with a good clipper and make a fresh cut on the bottom and just basically shove it in your pot.
Okay. And so you have almost like your own little Christmas tree out in your front yard.
Yep, exactly.
And it will last longer than your indoor Christmas tree.
Absolutely. These will last all the way till spring. I mean, I leave my pots out till you start to do cleanup in your yard in the spring, and I've had dogwood root even in the pot.
Oh, okay.
So, I keep it in there a long time.
Yeah.
But, they're pretty. They stay green and they stay nice all winter long.
Okay.
So depending on if you have, if it's viewed from all sides, you put your tall one in the center. If it's viewed only from one side, you put your tall one in the back side and just add some shorter ones around. And then there's also many, many other things that you can add to your pot, red twig dogwood being one of them.
And this is the one you said actually rooted.
Yep. And you can, this provides some really red, pretty color in the wintertime when you have a bunch of
red
snow
and
outside.
green Christmas colors.
This just happens to be something, sparkly and it's going to last outside. You can certainly do this kind of thing.
And so you have to be careful what you put in there that it can endure the winter.
Exactly. These are fresh greens too. This is Douglas fir. We also have cedar that you can, add in around the bottom of the pot just to kind of fill it out, add a little bit of a different texture to it. Verna's got some number of things. I'm going to let Verna explain what she brought from her yard.
Well, just, walking around your yard, if you're doing trimmings of any kind, think about where you might be able to use them, and a lot of times they're good for putting in your pot. I brought a couple of my Autumn Joy sedum that I had dried. I used it for fall, but
so you did dry these. They didn't just die. You actually cut them with the purpose of maybe making your own pot.
I did, yes. Okay. And then I just hang my things when I dry them. Just put a string around them and hang them up. But they have kind of a little reddish color left on them.
A lot of nice texture. You're talking about that, kind of making that variety there.
Your old-fashioned hydrangeas are wonderful, and especially around the base of your plant because they fill in. They're a little fragile, but a little trick is to buy a cheap can of hairspray and spray them once they're dried, and they'll hold up a little better.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you use those in your Christmas tree.
I did. We always cut a fresh tree, and it was just the perfect shape and size this year to have all those openings around the branches to tuck some of these in, and they're really pretty in there. We have a lot of cranberry bushes, and they're getting way out of control because we didn't keep them trimmed, so they're going to be replaced. So I've cut some of these every year. I mean, the birds love the berries too, and even the deer will catch them in the wintertime standing on their hind legs munching on the berries. But this adds a lot of nice color. And if you cut them early enough, you will probably have some branches with some leaves on it, which, adds a little interest too. But just, things at the bottom of your pot that kind of drape that work really well.
Oh, okay. So you have the taller ones, like you'll use the tree topper, like you mentioned, and maybe some of the other ones that you've dried will be your taller pieces. But then to fill in those bottoms, you use some of these other ones.
Magnolia branch.
Beautiful.
Our tree is quite large, so it doesn't hurt to trim a few branches out at once in a while, and you get that beautiful brown on the backside and your pale green.
It's beautiful.
The other thing you can do is pine cones is another thing you can add to your pot. This is broomcorn that I had access to this fall that I added, and it provided some height and some different textures.
And when the wind blows that'll be so lovely.
Yep. Yeah. So there's lots of things that you can just get outside if you just start walking around outside in the road ditches or your yard. You think, I hadn't thought about that.
Right.
You kind of see things in a different light.
So you don't have to spend a lot of money.
No,
because this pot that I see here is $10. Does it matter what kind of soil you use?
Actually, this is potting soil. I happen to have it bagged, but in all essence, I've gone out to the compost site and just got compost.
Okay.
You can buy a pail of compost for 50 cents.
Okay.
And you don't need to have good dirt. You just need to have something that's going to be heavy.
Because nothing's really growing. You just want something that is heavy and will capture that moisture.
Right. And then once you have everything in place, you want to move it outside or, put it in your garage and water it in really, really well. So the water comes out, and maybe water it in a couple of times, because you really want a lot of moisture in that soil to freeze hard when it's outside.
And what is the purpose of the freezing hard? Is that to make sure nothing blows away, or is it more about...
Probably all of the above. Because I came home a couple weeks ago or a month ago, and my pot was tipped over and it hadn't frozen yet, so everything all fell out. Well, if it's frozen solid hard, if it's going to tip over, the whole thing's going to tip, and you can write it back up again very easily. Okay, so and that's just a good thing to do every time you start these, no matter what you put in there. Right. Even if you're not using anything living, go ahead and do the hard freeze just to make sure, the hard water, to make sure that's going. Is there some things that you need to be careful not to use? I know we talked about the pot, because you don't want a ceramic one, because with the freezing and thawing it could break. What other things do you need to be careful of? Like if you use berries, for instance, you want to make sure that they're winter resistant or weather resistant berries. These aren't, because they squish. They're foam, and if you pick foam berries, they will crack in the cold. Okay. So you want to make sure that you get a good quality berry, and you can find them, a lot of different places. And these, there again, it adds some nice red color, but you have to make sure that you have weather-resistant berries. Okay, good. That's a good thing to keep in mind. When you have, so show us some of the implements you have. Oh, and I have a pruner, and of course, I don't hardly garden anymore without garden gloves. They're kind of your favorite. Because everything. The fresh pine is sappy. You get black all over your fingers. If you don't, the tree toppers are obviously fresh and they're pricky, so if you use gloves, it just makes your job a lot easier. Is there anything off limits that when you're doing this kind of thing, just kind of whatever creativity? I wouldn't say you can ribbons, Christmas ornaments, lights is another thing you can put on it if you have access to electricity. No, it's really whatever you like. We talked a little bit about how you have deer in your yard. Do you have to be careful about what you put in there so the deer don't come to your front door? No, they do to mine. They don't come to my front door. They come in my yard, but not my front door anyway. If you put like berries in these pots and they're out by your front door. They might. You're visiting, asking for eggnog. I'm not sure. Probably. Well, so what are some of this is what you have this year. What are some of the more unusual things you've added to some of your pots over the years? Well, this year, for instance, I didn't even use any evergreen. I used birch poles, and my folks live up north, so I came home with a bunch of birch, and pretty good sized birch, and I probably have 10 big pieces of birch in my pot. I use red twig dogwood, and I use broomcorn. Oh, beautiful. And that's all I used. I didn't use any evergreens for a change, just because I wanted to shake it up a little bit, and I love the look of the birch. And what about you, Verna? And what's some unusual things? I did the birch thing because this spring when we had the heavy, wet snow, we lost a lot of branches, and we lost a big birch branch, so I utilized that also. Thinking about ahead, when it is, growing season, keeping some things. Well, ladies, I thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure having you, and we'll have to drive by your house and see if the deer's enjoying their Christmas. All right, we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Hi, Ann Plascanco here from Senior Place, and it's our 25th anniversary this year. We provide health and wellness programs, and one of those programs is massage therapy with Betsy Wright.
Yes, Repose Massage can give you pain and stress relief naturally, so make an appointment today.
Yes, and find out all the other programs and services we have to offer and join Senior Place today.
Did you know that it is illegal in the city of Owatonna to host or allow a gathering where minors will be consuming alcoholic beverages on your property or in your residence? Did you know that it is illegal to provide minors with alcohol unless they are your own kids in your own home? Underage drinking leads to increased risk of future chemical dependency, engaging in more serious criminal activity, and becoming a victim of a crime. Please help keep our kids and our community safe by not encouraging, hosting, or allowing underage drinking. This is a message from the Owatonna Police Department and the Safe and Drug-Free Coalition of Steele County.
Hello, my name is Katie Marshall. A year ago, my family and I became homeless. We were scared and alone. Today, with the help of Steele County Transitional Housing and generous donors like you, my family and I are safely housed. I am working, going to college, paying my rent on time. My children have a warm bed to sleep in every night. My family and I are so grateful for this second chance. Please help others in need by donating to transitional housing today. Everyone deserves a safe place to live.
Hi, I'm Glenn Mager.
And I'm Tim Thomas of the Brick Mager Funeral Home, and we're proud to serve the Medford and Owatonna areas with cremation and traditional funeral services.
And we're proud to be a part of the Owatonna Today Show.
United Way of Steele County is all about changing lives,
reaching out a hand,
painting a brighter tomorrow,
creating opportunities,
inspiring and regaining hope,
navigating obstacles.
Please join us and all Jostens employees by giving generously, advocating for a better quality of life, and volunteering your time to a partner agency. We all win when we
live united.
And we are back with the Owatonna Today Show. I have with me Melinda Estey and Gary Hart. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. Welcome. Doesn't it smell like Christmas in here?
It's wonderful.
With all the pine leaves and
stuff.
Smells
great.
It does.
It really does.
What I would love to do is I'd like you to introduce yourself first, and then we'll kind of get into the nitty-gritty of things. So we'll start with you.
Sure. I'm Melinda Estey. I've been the transit coordinator with Steele County out of the Human Services Office for the last few years.
Okay, good.
And I'm Gary Hart with Cedar Valley Services in Albert Lea. And I also run the Albert Lea Transit program that's in Albert Lea as well.
Well, we've got a big announcement kind of today that we would like to talk about, and we'll start with you, Gary, because it's a merger of sorts.
Yes, it is. So Cedar Valley Services operates Albert Lea Transit in Albert Lea and Freeborn County, and we are now going to be merging with SCAT. And so we'll have a new transit organization up in Steele County here that's merging with Albert Lea Transit, and also we're merging with AMCAT in Austin as well. Okay. So we're going to have 3 counties that Cedar Valley Services will be responsible for.
That's a lot of territory.
Yes, it is.
To move buses around.
Yes.
Why is this happening? What is made this change come forward?
There's been some changes with MnDOT, the state of Minnesota, with the Department of Transportation. So they're trying to streamline and merge a lot of their transit organizations into smaller, more compact programs. And so right now there's about 50 smaller transit organizations throughout Minnesota that provide public transportation. So they're trying to combine those down to a little bit, so it's easier for them to manage as well. And so that's kind of the gist of it. So Cedar Valley Services, we're operating Albert Lea Transit right now, and so now we'll be merging with Steele County and Mower County, starting in 2014.
That seems like, well, what they're taking away our autonomy, but it's actually, there's some really great benefits for this.
Yeah, that's right. First of all, it's going to streamline processes, so it should be a little bit easier for the end user, the people that are riding the transportation. And then, too, hopefully down the road will be some more benefits as far as some multi-county transportation system, a little bit easier for people to call one number, be able to assist with that as well.
Well, and we talked about this a little bit. There's also going to be a name change.
Yes, yes.
Now, and poor Melinda's like, oh, because we have the SCAT transit.
Correct.
But we're going to be changing that.
Yeah. So the new name will be called SMART.
Okay.
So it'll be Southern Minnesota Area Rural Transit.
Now, is that going to be once you branch out into all 3 counties and they start becoming one? Is that what all of them will be called?
Yep. So all of them will be Smart Transit. So it doesn't matter if you're in Austin or Albert Lea or up here in Owatonna, Steele County, that it's all going to be Smart Transit.
Okay.
And that will help, hopefully, too, down the road to lead some room for some growth for it as well.
Well, and I know one of the things that is important to this company is helping people get where they need to go, especially if there's the elderly or the young, making sure that they get to appointments and that kind of thing. Will any of those philosophies change once these companies merge?
They really weren't. They're really not going to change with that. So really business as usual right now with the routes, and we're not going to be changing any of them. We're change a little bit with the pricing on that. But for the most part, people should not see any changes as far as the route and when they pick up the bus and when they take it home. So really trying to make things as convenient and easy for everyone as possible.
Good. And Melinda, you've, of course, how long have you been working with the Steele County Area Transit?
For 3 years.
3 years. So you've kind of seen things come and go.
Yeah. Yes.
So what kind of, are you excited about this new change, this new opportunity?
I am excited. I think it's going to create a lot of benefits for Steele County. We're rolling, well, the name change. We're really excited.
Yay!
We're really excited about the name change. And then we're also going to be able to implement some really great opportunities for our riders. So one of the things we're really excited about is we'll have an unlimited route pass.
Okay.
So you can ride for the whole month for $30.
Doesn't matter how many times a day.
Right. And that's for the route service only, not for our dial-a-ride service.
Okay, so let's talk about the difference between those in case there's some
Yes.
people who are watching. You have a route service and dial-a-ride.
Yes.
What are the difference between those two?
Well, this might also be a good opportunity for us to change our mentality because we've been calling it dial-a-ride. The Federal Transit wants us to call it deviated service. So,
okay. Right.
No, I'm sorry, deviated route and then demand response for a dial-a-ride. So,
okay.
So it'll heretofore be referred to as demand responsive service.
Okay.
And for demand response, you call the phone number, you schedule a ride at least 24 hours ahead of time.
Okay.
And another change that we're really excited about going forward, we'll have some new technology with the merger that will allow us to schedule rides further out in advance.
Oh, okay.
So this will be after January 2nd. We'll be able to do up to 2 weeks, maybe even longer, I think.
So if you know you have an appointment in 2 weeks and you need a ride,
yes.
you can make that 2 weeks ahead
right.
of time.
Today you have to call 24 hours advance in Owatonna.
Okay.
And then first come, first serve. Whoever calls in earliest gets the ride for the next day.
So at 8 a.m. the phones go wild.
Right, yes. Yeah. And our dispatch today is 7 to 1 o'clock and then 2 to 4, and we'll be 7 to 5 straight through.
Oh, okay. So some making it a little bit more almost accessible, it sounds like.
Yes, absolutely. That's one of our core values,
Oh,
too, is to make
nice.
it easy and cost efficient and friendly.
Okay, and so then let's talk about the route itself a little bit.
So in Owatonna, we have the City of Owatonna route, which is available Monday through Friday, and that's from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And let me take that back, 7 a.m. to 6, I'm having a total brain.
It'll be on the website.
6 p.m. Yes. 7 a.m. to 6
Good thing
p.m.
you're here.
And that's, we do every hour, it's the same loop around the city of Owatonna.
Okay.
And so we are looking at doing some tweaks to that route because we'll have the new grocery stores in town. So we have
that's
Fairway
true.
Foods coming, and we want to add a route stop with them.
Okay.
But so every hour at the same minute marker of each hour, it's in the city of Owatonna.
And how can someone find out what that route is in case they're curious if it works for them?
So today, all of the information is available on brochures, either on the buses or at different locations. We resell tickets through Hy-Vee and Cashwise and at the Steele County Auditor's Office. We're hoping that that will continue to go forward. And another note on that for everybody today, every ticket that's sold through the end of the year, December 31st, will continue to be honored with the new system.
Oh, okay.
So anybody that has tickets, please hang on to them. You can continue to use them.
Don't feel like you have to get rid of them
Right.
because you are going to tokens.
We will be going to tokens. We're not exactly sure when those will get into circulation quite yet. We're trying to do a lot on a really short
it's a big change,
time span here. So tokens will be available. There will be a discounted rate for students, which would be ages 3 to 17, have a $1 route or $1 fare for any of the services.
Okay.
And then for our route information, you can also check today on the Steele County website. There's a SCAT link on the bottom of our homepage.
Good.
And that's at www.co.steele.mn.us.
Okay.
And then come January 1, we'll have a new website up and running for the SMART program.
Okay.
And we don't have that up and running yet, but we do know it will be smartbusmn.org.
Okay, so some things to look forward to. And, for those people who've been writing this quite a while, it seems to be like a lot of changes. But it's really easy just to call in and ask those questions.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're really nailing down kind of those final last-minute details this next couple of weeks. So we're getting a lot of questions in, and just bear with us as we kind of finalize everything.
Service should never stop.
Right.
Correct.
It just need to, and it should always be the same like we've talked about.
Yes.
Just a few tweaks.
Right.
It sounds like mostly name changes.
Right.
At this point.
Yes.
Yeah. So as you look at forward and combining these three counties, what are some things people can maybe see coming their way?
Yeah, I would say probably in the future we're looking at, expanded service. So hopefully they'll be able to have a bus that may go to Austin or Albert Lea or maybe even some of the smaller communities that are rural.
Okay.
And then to hopefully just streamline of services, make it a little bit easier, one number to call, one website to look at, and then hopefully then we can make adjustments as we go and make it as user-friendly as possible.
Well, and I know that when you reach that, the elderly do use this a lot for their appointments. How accessible are the buses? Maybe somebody who's watching has never even had a chance to ride on one of the buses. How accessible are they for the elderly?
You know, it's very nice. So each bus has a lift on it. So if a person is in a chair, they can use the lift. Or if they have a hard time walking up the steps, we can use the lift as well to get them onto the bus as well. So really try to make it user-friendly with people getting on and off the bus. Either if they have a chair or if they're a little bit limited with their mobility, be able to use the lift on the bus there. Each bus has a lift, and everything works very well with that.
And Melinda, how many passengers are in each bus? How big are the buses themselves?
In Steele County, all but one of our buses hold up to 18 passengers, and they all have at least 2 wheelchair securement spots.
Good. And I was wondering this last year about how many people rode the SCAT buses?
We have been up in our ridership this last year. We're running about 200 rides a day.
Oh, that's quite a bit.
Yeah, we're really excited.
Good. It's great. It's a great service and opportunity. Okay, so again, if you have questions, what number can they call?
For today, you can still call the SCAT number, which is 451-7777.
Okay, and as things move on, we'll probably give more details. Thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Hi, I'm Amy Martinez.
And I'm Adam Martinez, owners of Snap Fitness in Owatonna.
Snap Fitness is a fast, convenient, and affordable fitness center, and we're proud supporters of the Owatonna Today Show.
Everyone deserves opportunities to have a good life, a quality education that leads to a stable job, enough income to support a family through retirement, and good health. But the reality is, many children fall behind, many families are struggling, and many others are in poor health. United Way's goal is to find long-term solutions. Thanks to a grant from the Otto Bremer Foundation, we're hosting community conversations this year to address these issues. If you'd like to join us, please call our office.
Hi, this is Barry Gillespie, president of ERA Gillespie Real Estate, where our pledge is to save you money, save you time, and simplify your life. And we're proud supporters of the Owatonna Today Show.
And it's time to take a look at your community announcements. The Steele County Historical Society has created a flash exhibit in response to the Owatonna Huskies' success in winning the 2013 Prep Bowl Championship. It is at the Steele County Historical Society through the 15th. Go check that out and kind of see the journey that they took and the fun that it had. Some past and present information is going to be there as well. And it's a great opportunity for you just to kind of relive that historic moment. Sounds of Christmas with the Steeles, holiday music at its best at Saturday at 7:30 at Trinity Lutheran Church here in Owatonna. Tickets are $15. You can pick them up at Trinity Lutheran, Kottke Jewelers, Triumph Graphics, and just a great way to start your Christmas season with some beautiful Christmas music by Grammy-winning artists. A lot of fun with that. The Steele County Safety Council is having their December meeting on the 18th at the Elks Club, starting at 11:30 with dinner, and it's going to be talking about what's in your first aid cabinet. There'll also be an opportunity to do a fundraiser for the Steele County Skywarn system. If you want more information, you can contact 475-2185 and find out really what's going on that entire day. I do know they do have a prize giveaway, which is always a fun thing for me, so I can encourage you to go to that. And the Steele County Historical Society is seeking copies of the Owatonna photo news from the 1950 to 1953, so they can be resourced for the upcoming Korean War exhibit at the History Center. If you have some information on that, you can call the History Center at 451-1420. The Owatonna Elks local competition for the Elks Hoop Shoot. It's a national free throw shooting contest for youngsters 8 through 13 is in Owatonna Junior High at Saturday, January 4th. Registration does begin at 12:15. It's for boys and girls 8 to 9, 10 to 11, and 12 to 12 to 13. Each contestant gets 25 shots at the hoop, and the boy and girl in each age group with the best score will win. Contestants' age groups will be determined by their ages as of April 1st, 2004. So if you're wondering if you qualify, there you go. Local contestants should bring verification of age to the competition. Most of them don't have driver's licenses, so I'm wondering if that just means your birth certificate. I'm not sure. Training and development from Riverland Training and Development industry-focused maintenance courses will be held held. There's going to be a safety and OSHA course on January 14th through the 29th, and then a blueprint reading January 13th through the 20th, and fundamentals of electrical maintenance February 5th through the 22nd, an opportunity to advance your career, maybe start a new career. Great opportunities. Contact Riverland College for more information. And finally, Meals of Hope, a community meal for anyone that may need it, does take place Sunday evenings from 5 to 6 at Trinity Lutheran Church. Call the church for more information. Thanks so much for joining us this week. We will see you next week right here on the Owatonna Today Show, where we're talking to the Women's Club about the Women's Club charity event and the Teachers Banquet. See you then.